Why social media makes you angry on purpose. The algorithm isn't neutral. It doesn't like you. It just rewards different things than what you would want. Social media and the internet algorithm in general, regardless of social media, rewards clicks, rewards watching time. It rewards staying on there as long as possible. And what keeps you there? What keeps you waiting? What keeps you a viewer? Outrage, fear, division. All these things keep you there. They keep you there longer than you should be. They keep you there longer than you want to be and longer than what is good for you. It's not healthy for us to be sitting in that place where anger and outrage, fear, and being distraught, being divided with people, putting wedges between people. It's not good for us to imbibe these things and to be sitting in a place where that is surrounding us. That's something that we're feeding our mind, that we're feeding our mouths, that we're feeding our life. It's not something that we're going to get a return on our investment in. It's just something we're giving away. We're giving away our time for rage, for fear, for things that we wouldn't want in the first place. I would imagine you're the same. I would imagine you'd want to be informed, but there's a difference between the information and other people's version of the information. And that's what we're fed a lot. If we're not intentional, we become what we consume. If we consume fear-based news, fear-based topics, fear-based angles of looking at things, we become more fearful. If we consume more angry, rage-filled, rage-baited news and events or takes on situations, we become more angry because we've got the fuel, we've been feeding that. We become what we consume. And as parents, partners, and leaders in your community, we have to guard what we imbibe as well. It's not just about us, because our interactions will also dictate that for other people. Just as you talk to someone and they're always sad and you start feeling sad by hanging out with them a lot, the same thing happens with you. If that's what you're focused on, if that's what you're imbibing, that's what you pass on as well, because that's all we've got. That's what's fueling us. And people will get secondhand smoke from us. That secondhand rage, secondhand fear from us. Have you ever closed your phone and felt more angry, fearful, or upset than you did prior to opening your phone, prior to switching it on? That's not uncommon. This is something that is made on purpose. It's something that we have to be cautious of, because the feed that you have, your social media feed, your internet feed, is feeding you. It's feed for a reason. It's what you're taking in. It's what you're taking in with your eyes, you're taking on board, and if you're accepting it, it's what you pass on as well. There have been plenty of studies to do with the harms of social media, of just consuming things and letting that be your life, letting that take over your life. As screen time increases, our own creativity decreases, our attention span decreases, and so does our mental health. I'm going to read some of the statistics around this particular study to do with social media in teens. So there was 6,595 US teens tracked over 2 years. They found some pretty alarming statistics to do with this study. If you consumed 3 to 6 hours a day of social media or of internet time, screen time, you had a 60% higher chance of internalizing problems like anxiety or depression. If that went over 6 hours a day, you were 68% higher chance of internalizing issues, the same issues. But those using social media 30 minutes or less had much lower levels of mental health problems. In plain terms, teens who use social media 3 hours or above per day are almost twice as likely to have anxiety or depression. That's a massive, massive difference. This isn't an opinion. This is measurable harm that's coming from these things. This is measurable harm from the things that we're allowing our kids to do, particularly teenagers. But kids get devices so much quicker nowadays. They get it when they're very, very young. In this episode, I'm breaking down how the algorithm is trying to keep you upset, to try and keep you outraged, and how to get around that and how to break that cycle for you and your family. The first thing to remember is that the algorithm and social media is not your friend. They don't care about you. They just want your views, your attention, so they can add to their ad revenue, so they can sell products. It's a money-making exercise. It's also a tool that has been shown by certain political parties to cause outrage as well. Some political parties pay influencers to push their agendas. Don't believe everything that you see, because it may not be heartfelt. It may not be people who have the best interest for you. Odds are it's not. Yes, there will be some, but not a lot. You need to guard your heart. You need to guard your mind and your eyes. Anger, fear, and outrage all increase engagement. Time on the app, increased engagement, increased interactions are what it's for. Attention is a business now. It's enormously important. The algorithm doesn't care if it's good for you. It wants you to be a consumer rather than a creator of something. Have you noticed how it feeds more of what you engage with? If you engage on something that's quite anger-inducing, quite outrageous, quite fearful, something that's really, stuck with you, if you engage in that, do you see the next time you scroll, the next time you open your phone, that there's more of the same? It's feeding you more of the same just because it's engagement. It doesn't care about your thing. It doesn't care about your beliefs. It doesn't care about how you feel about certain issues and topics. It just knows that it can get engagement from you. So it feeds you the same thing again and again to have that same reaction from you. Why do we scroll? Why do we look at our phones? Why do we watch TV? Why do we do any of those things? Now, the biggest one would probably be phones, I would think. It is a computer in your pocket. That's what it is now. It used to be for phone calls, for staying connected, and now it's connection, but on a totally different wavelength. You can talk to someone all year, never see them, but you've sent 1,000 memes. And that's fun, but it doesn't feed you at all. Before scrolling, you might be feeling tired, exhausted, you just want to chill out. But social media is kind of like junk food for your brain. If you're hungry and you eat gummy bears, you feel awesome for a second. It tastes incredible. You haven't eaten for hours. It tastes great. But then after a while, even though you're a little bit more full, you're not that full. You've consumed a lot of calories, but you don't feel that full, and you kind of feel bad. That's exactly what social media is for your brain. It's just junk food for your brain. It gives you something, you're being entertained, but it's empty calories. It fills you up at the time, and you're like, this is kind of all right. Then you stop and you go, I just spent an hour doing nothing. I just spent an hour when I could have done all these other things that I actually really love and that I get something out of. And now I'm not perfect with this. I know none of us are. I get that. But it's something that we need to be aware of, because ultimately that's what we're doing. We're just feeding more of the same. We're just feeding the algorithm. We're not feeding ourselves. We're not feeding what we need. We're not giving ourselves what we need. We're not using it to create. We're not using it to actually chill out or to spend time with the people that we love. We're spending it. Full stop. We're just spending it. We're just spending that time. After scrolling, you can be annoyed, angry, irritated, sad. It does affect your mood. It can affect your patience with your kids or your spouse. Very rarely does it feed you something that you're glad that you have now. That it's giving you something that you're like, oh man, I'm really glad I looked on Facebook for that long. I'm really glad that I scrolled that many times and I sent that many reels. Now, it's fine to do some of this stuff, but if it's out of control, if it just does what it wants to do and we let it roam free, that will be our time. That will be all of our free time. That's what we're spending it on. And that's a big cost. It might seem small at the time, but it compounds. Proverbs 4, verse 23. What you feed grows. What you starve dies. There was a time a couple of years ago where I remember I was totally fine. I woke up in the morning. I was feeling all right. I did some things. I made some food for the kids. I had a little bit of free time to myself while my wife had the kids. And I remember I'll just spend 30 minutes looking on my phone. And I remember after that 30 minutes, how annoyed I was, how frustrated I was, how outraged I was by certain things that were going on in the world done by certain people. And I remember the issues that were really bugging me were societal issues, the way that people were being treated, the disregard for people's feelings and care. And I was so annoyed. And all I could think of was how fine I was pre looking at my phone. And then after that, I looked at my feed and I realized I had so much more of the things that made me annoyed, irritated, angry. And I thought, this sucks. This sucks. This is stuff that I don't feel good doing and watching and being around. And I'm consuming it. I'm just giving it a platform. Don't give things that frustrate you, that hurt you, that outrage you a platform. It's so easy to feel guilty after wasting time on things that are those empty calories for your brain, the junk food for your brain, the scrolling. It's very easy to feel guilty about it. But this isn't about feeling guilty. It's about ownership. It's about doing something now that we're here. We didn't like it. Sure thing. We know that we don't like that. Not saying we'll get it perfect next time, but we're going to try and we're going to do our best. Yes, I messed up. Yes, I wasted that time that I could have done on this project that I really want to do. Which brings me to the next thing. What actually helps you? What actually feeds you? What actually lifts you up rather than pulls you down? How do you feel after an hour of doom scrolling? How do you feel after just getting lost in the empty calories of social media? And then compare that to 30 minutes of something that you love. What actually makes you feel calm, connected, or inspired? What's something that after you do it, you always feel better for it? Those are the things that would be important to incorporate into your day and to prioritize rather than not prioritizing anything and we go to our default, which is our computer in our pocket. Practical tools around this. Audit your feed. Go through it. Stock take. Have a look at what actually lifts you up and what tears you down. Mute it. Unfollow. Do what you need to do. Now, this isn't something that you need to cut out of your life completely. You don't have to get rid of scrolling or sending memes or whatever else. That's fine. But if it's taking away from the important things in your life, that's the issue. How much time are you spending on that versus how much time are you spending with your kids? Are you spending it with your spouse? Are you spending it with your partner, your husband, your wife? How much time are you spending on the projects that you love, that you've been wanting for years to complete, that you're going, oh man, if only I had more time? Well, how much time do you need, man? Like, how much time do you need? How much time do you have to use on other things that you don't even like that much, rather than spending it on the things that you love? This week, notice how you feel when you scroll before and after, and how you feel before you do the things that you care about. Spending time with your family, having a coffee out somewhere, going for a walk, reading a book, working on something that you love, praying, journaling, reading to your kids, going to the park with your kids. Have a look how you feel doing either thing. Also notice the times when you reach for your phone. The times when you don't even realize and then suddenly you're going, whoa, I just started scrolling. I didn't even realize. It's easy to do that at the gym. You got to rest between sets. What are you going to do? You go for a walk, finish your set, do a lap around the gym. If that's easy for you, do that. When I do that, I get about 2,000 extra steps in. It's helpful. See how you can easily replace this social media time, but you have to be intentional to start. You have to be intentional because otherwise it will default to just the computer out from your pocket. That's it. You pick your phone out and you're entertained immediately. Empty calories away, feeling great for the moment. So you've stock taked your feed. You've muted the things that you don't want to speak into your life anymore and that you don't want to consume anymore. You've noticed how you feel before and after scrolling and before and after doing the things that you care about. You've made time for the things that you care about. A really important lesson is to not show your kids that you being entertained is more important than them. Show your kids that they're a priority, that the time that you get to spend with them, you use, that you are fully present for. We homeschool, but if your kids go to school, the time that you get pre and post school is really important. You only get a certain amount per day. What are you doing with that time? You're knackered from work. I get it. You're tired. You've had a busy day. You've had a hard day. I get that. But the kids are there and they get to see you. They might be tired too. But if they go off on their phones and you go off on yours, Where's the connection? What's the point in being around each other? I see so many kids nowadays that are young, that are little kids, and there is so much more screen time for these kids. Now, I'm going to do a different talk on that, about the dangers of screen time for kids, particularly young kids, because all I see is that parents don't want their kids to be uncomfortable, don't want them to be bored, and don't want any hassles from them at a restaurant, going to the shops. Your kid is allowed to be bored. Your kid is allowed to find the fun. You're allowed to engage your kid in looking around, in finding the fun. For the next 3 days, try these things. Track how you feel before and after social media. Try replacing social media for just 10 to 30 minutes with something that you really care about. A project, reading a book you haven't finished, writing something, going for a walk, time in the sun, having a coffee outside with your feet on the ground, the kids playing, whatever it is. Just replace it and see how you feel before and after. You're not unique in being affected by scrolling, being affected by social media, by not being your best self during that time, or anything like that. You're not unique in that you're not the only one. You're not the only parent who gets it wrong. You're not the only person who gets it wrong. But there are things that we can do about it. We can try. We can be aware. We can remove. We can plant things. We can plant good things and feed them and nurture them and water them and create something that's way better for ourselves and our families and our friends. You're not weak for being affected, but you're wise if you take responsibility for it. You're accountable. That ownership, you have the power of it. You're not at the mercy of it anymore. You're not at the mercy of habit or of addiction. The algorithm may hate you, but your family doesn't, your friends don't, and ideally you don't. So spend time doing the things that matter with the people that matter most. If you've gotten anything out of this episode and you think it could help someone else, please share it with them. I hope you spend more time doing the things that you love with the people that you love. And, eat some proper calories when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to the things that you like and imbibe, that you get to spend that proper energy doing that. That's me. I hope you liked it. This was High Struggling. I'm Dad. I'm Grant. If you'd like to work with me in the future, let me know by my social media, by messaging me, or through my website. Take care, guys. Peace.